All right, good evening. Team 2, I'm John, this is Rachel, Vesna, Elizabeth, and Robert. We are here to talk about how the Manhattan Project was an effective team. And here is a short video to give you some background about it.
It's a sad but inescapable fact that the greatest advances in science have come from humanity's more destructive impulses. German chemist Fritz Haber, for example, figured out how to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to create gigantic bombs used to kill people in World War I, but his technology was also used to make the world's first synthetic fertilizers, which revolutionized how the world feeds itself. Gunpowder, similarly, was discovered by ancient Chinese alchemists, but was developed by Europeans who used it to conquer half of the world. None of this is science's fault. When we discover powerful truths about the universe, it's up to us to decide how to use them, because they can either be boons to humanity or banes. And there's probably no better example of this than the work done by the Manhattan Project, the years-long multinational effort to develop an atomic bomb during World War II. It took $2 billion, roughly $25.8 billion of today's dollars, and 100% of the smartest chemists, physicists, and engineers in the US, UK, and Canada to develop and build 4 nuclear weapons. First, the Gadget, the test bomb that was detonated in the desert of New Mexico. Second, Little Boy, which was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. Fat Man, dropped on Nagasaki, Japan. And a 4th bomb that was thankfully never used. It's because of those bombs that we now live in a world where humans have the wherewithal to destroy ourselves and every other living thing on the planet. And though they effectively ended World War II, atomic bombs started the Cold War, which was almost 50 years of everybody walking around worried that they were going to be incinerated at any moment. But the Manhattan Project is responsible for humanity gaining a lot of information about the atom, and really quickly. If it hadn't been for this top-secret bomb development program, all those physicists wouldn't have been able to collaborate to make this science happen. And it's science that we're still learning from today.
So let me give you guys a little bit more information about the Manhattan Project. Before the US government got serious with this project, they were called the S1 Committee. It would just consist of scientists from 4 colleges on the list that had this idea that they can create an atomic bomb. And the Manhattan Project is called the Manhattan Project because the main research site was in Columbia University of Manhattan, New York. And then the Armored Engineering Division that built a facility for them worldwide was called the Manhattan Division. And to make the atomic bomb work, these groups of scientists, engineers, and smart people, they had to get electromagnetic separation, they have to get gas and thermal diffusion, and they also have to make sure they have a working nuclear reactor. So as a team, we agreed to focus on 4 things that the Manhattan Project did well, and also made us believe that they were one of the best teams in history. First of all, they had a BHAG. They had to create the atomic bomb before Germany does for world peace. Second, they had a dream team consist of scientists, engineers, political leaders, and military leaders. Third, they were able to avoid decision-making pitfalls like many teams does when they try to perform team functions. And then lastly, they were able to get the right people on the bus, and they were able to get unstuck. Now I pass it to Rachel.
Yeah, the Manhattan Project, it became highly evident that they had a BHAG. You know, they had to race against Germany and their allies to create some sort of weapon so that they could end the war at some point. So they did that by first getting the funding from the government, and then combining the knowledge of people from the US, the UK, and Canada. And once those all professionals came together, they were able to delegate the duties and go to different sites to work separately and then come together to make the bombs. So when the first bomb worked, when they detonated it in New Mexico, you know, it's like, hey, we reached the goal, we know this technology works, so let's build a couple more and actually use them. And then moving on to like the dream team, you know, everyone just, like Gia said, they got the right people on the bus. You know, Bria loves the short bus. You know, and I love what Team One said in their Wisdom of Teams presentation from Jack Welch. The team with the best players wins. And that's really what happened with the Manhattan Project. They got the right team, the right people together so that they were able to make what they needed to make. And additionally, everyone was excited to like work together and see if their hard work was really going to pay off when they detonated the bomb. And too much conflict, which led us to lose a high level of trust between everybody, especially since they were in different locations and had to come together.
So even the most successful of teams do fall victim to some very common pitfalls that are basically unpredictable, and the teams must adapt throughout their entire work together to make sure that they do not fail. We can go over several concepts which we learned from our text, groupthink, and how our team overcame this issue. They followed through on all of their commitments in a reasonable fashion. They had deliberated clearly. They had a predetermined goal. They also, team members used common sense and good judgment. Consensus was not placed above all other priorities, which is very important. Escalation of commitment. The team was committed to the cause, but not blinded by the goal. This, I think, is kind of the theme of a lot of the pitfalls. The strategies were fluid, they were ever changing, and they were better optimized in the decision-making process. The Abilene paradox. Conflicts were not avoided, rather clear, rational solutions are proposed and team members are supported by one another. There was no clouding of judgment and decision-making. Group polarization. Everyone's opinions must be heard and no one's opinions must be compromised. When there's a difference of opinion, there must be some reasonable and deductible way to reach the solution. No undervalued team members is an important aspect of this concept. Unethical decision-making. This, I think, is a crucial concept of this particular project because you do talk about such a world-changing goal, if you will. They had to keep in mind the benefits of not only the United States of America, but all of humanity for the future.
From what we learned on chapter 8 wisdom of team, there are some common dilemmas in that team. The first is with sense of direction. This project was totally experimental. It was a new thing, a new idea, a new challenge. So nobody knew how to deal with this, how to behave, and how to act and go on. But everyone was also supposed to give his contribute and to find his role on the bus. It was a real behavior. The second is insufficient or unequal commitment to team performance. The team was big and continuing growing, so it was very difficult to motivate all the people at the same way and make sure that everybody was working at the same direction at the same time. The third is critical skill gaps. They need technical expertise in chemistry, physics, interpersonal commitment, and a strong management. They chose the right people to be on the bus, but they needed to be sure that everybody was working and doing their best in their field before moving on. Everything had to be perfect and working perfectly with the other fields. Number 4 is external confusion, hostility, and indifference. The truth is that the external people didn't care about what they were doing. Even the government supported this project with only $6,000 that are less than $100,000 of today. So the thinking that wasn't so important. Also, people were afraid of this new weapon because iron bombs to kill people are humans. So they were afraid of what would happen next. The last is leadership in need of help. Leadership changed 4 times during this project because nobody seems to be good enough in making such a big deal. So at the end, Canada, UK, and US succeed in being combined under the same leadership and work together in a good and a profitable way. So like high-performing team, they finally succeed in getting us done.
In conclusion, what can we learn from this effective team? Our example teaches us about the importance of the mission and the commitment of the team in it, and also the importance of the communication and the competitiveness of the team. All effective teams share a dream or a motivating purpose. In this case, their purpose was to save the world from the Nazis. We wanted to build the atomic bomb before the enemies, like we had said before. The high commitment was also a tool to manage with conflict. For example, there was a member of the team that in a moment wanted to leave the project because he had some problems with a colleague, but the manager, just by remembering the power of the mission, it was enough to convince him to stay in the team. The Manera project was an excellent example of communication between the team itself, the members inside the team, and also between the teams and the organization. Thanks to the interaction between the different types of teams, the birth of the atomic bomb was possible. And finally, sometimes it's very important to have a real or uninvented enemy, someone to compete with. In this case, it was a real enemy, Germany and Japan, but there was also a high level of competition inside the project among the different departments involved in the project. So the members had a strong pride that fueled the findings. Competition can be very powerful to motivate the team and to lead to much interaction.